Welcome. Last session, okay? Promise. Good, it'll be fast and enjoyable. So my name is Alex Campos. I work at Ververica, and today I'm here with Jorge Alor to share with you the experience BCP Bank in Peru. He had modernized batch processes using Flink. Okay. So this is the agenda. We're gonna go on the introduction to understand, give you a little bit of context what BCP is. Okay, we are on this side of the world. We need to understand a little bit of that business, the business context, what they're looking for. That's really important, right? What's the drivers for that modernization? Then we go for the typical as is to the to be view why Flink, right? It's really important, and the initial impact that the bank is receiving from this initiative. Okay, so introduction, Jorge.
Hi everyone, my name is Jorge Alor. I work at Banco de Crédito de Perú, BCP. As a technology architect, I focus on designing and building scalable and reliable application using open source technology like Apache Flink and Paimon, also cloud native principles. Today I'll share our experience modernizing Workloads batch from Mainframe.
Thank you, Jorge. So, as I said, my name is Alex Campos. I'm a solution engineer. I'm covering especially Latin America and the South of EMEA market. I have a experience to work with big data for the last 10 years, maybe, okay? Especially in the open source space. So that for me, it's a pleasure to be back to this kind of events, like more community driven, okay? So fun fact, actually, Jorge attended Flink Forward last year. Okay, that's our CEO. On the right side, okay. Alex, same name, okay. And basically, Jorge came here to get experience and understand how he can modernize, get knowledge, right? Share experience with Yoda, how he can modernize the batch processing using open source technology and follow some, experience learnings and things that he can get for the community, okay? So right now, he's here as a speaker, so you can see how easy it is to adopt this kind of technology and have your quick wins, in the short term, okay? So about BCP, Banco Crédito de Perú, you know where Peru is maybe, okay? It's Pacific Ocean, okay? So it's the largest institution in Peru, financial institution in Peru, okay? One important thing about Peru is that only 60% of the population, they have access to financial services, right? So because of really rural country, with a lot of people live not in the big cities. So, and BCP actually is a good promoter of the financial inclusion, okay? Make sure that the people can access easily this kind of financial services because it's really, really important, right, for the country development, okay? On the other hand, BCP is also helping business as well, small business, medium business, to make sure that they can also have access to basic financial services, but from the business perspective, right? Previously, I also have the chance to work with BCP in previous company, and I have seen that they have been adopt a lot of innovation and this kind of things. Make sure that they can take the most of what they are doing, right? These are the two main services that we can share in terms of, let's say, innovation. The first one is the canales digitales, or digital channels, okay? To make sure that the population can easily access, now that everyone has at least a smartphone, right? So they can access these digital channels to interact with the different, let's say, services, okay? The other one is that actually they have like a kind of academy to learn domestic finance for the population, and make sure that they can also have some basic knowledge how to manage the money and the family economy, right? And the other one is JAPE, Japa actually is a slang, okay? And when you, let's say, you go to a bar and you pay the bill, right? And they say, hey, here in Spain we call Bizum, right? When you transfer money one to one, they have this one. It's pretty similar, okay? Bizum actually you need to have a bank account in the background, right? So Jape actually they don't need it. So it's like a wallet, and everyone with the ID above 18 years old, they can have access to this kind of service. So this is the kind of things that we see a lot in countries that are in development, right? Because they need to make sure that the financial services can get a broader audience, right? So about the business context, okay? The bank in this innovation, digital transformation initiative, they started to figure out some, let's say, pains, right? The first one, they want to move fast, but the current, let's say, core bank infrastructure, they needed to add more and more resources that, in this case, they're running at more costs, right, to keep that infrastructure. That means, if they want to run more workloads on that infrastructure, core bank infrastructure that have been there for years, they need to add more resources, like computer resources and so on. So it's like a trade-off, right? I want to go fast, but I need to add more resources here, and that's not the best way to do it. That actually goes to the second point, like efficiencies, right? Because it starts to be complex, right, to manage all those legacy, let's say, legacy projects with new projects and innovation and move fast. So that start to be hard, and people, and also like manage to kind of infrastructures. And the last one that's really important, actually, is happening here in Europe, is skilled people that can work with languages like COBOL. Have you heard about COBOL? Okay. If you heard your hand, maybe you are above 40. Okay. So find this kind of people is right, because it's a technology that has been there for years in that you can use on Mainframe. So it's really hard actually to find people. So and they realize that, and they need to make sure that they can include new technologies to accelerate the innovation, but at the same way to be a sexy company to work for, right? So work for a company that work with new technology and with success, right? With legacy technologies, right? So that's a good point we could understand in this initiative. But most importantly is this stability, right? They were moving in that digital transformation, make sure that they can work more on the digital space, and they realized that their mainframe was start to get in trouble, okay? Bottlenecks, and were not delivering the SLA they were looking for. So before, make sure that they can go faster, they started this stabilization project to have the basics, the foundation to add more digital, let's say, services and analytics as well, and platform. So now let's understand from Jorge the as-is and the to-be situation, okay?
Okay. Sorry. Okay. As is under pressure. Okay. As the bank started to add more channel, business ground, especially the digital ones like mobile and web, naturally more data and service were required the core banking system. The increase in the demand started to add more pressure in the core banking system, and stability issue became evident over time, including missing service level agreement and resource shortage. Onboard new data processing workload running in the core system required a new approach or technology piece to keep the pace of innovation. Okay, but it's for online operation. It's no problem because the mainframe can scale vertically only for online operation. But the problem is the batch process. Okay, because the batch process, there are critical process and running in the any hour. Okay. In this case, the SIS architecture is mainly composed of the mainframe core banking solution, batch processing, use data from DB2 database, and also sequential BSAM files. Okay, as any batch processing workloads are triggered by scheduler, in this case of the bank, mainly off-peak time frames. In this slide, you can see 4 panes. Okay, as we said before, overtime limitation became evident. After a deep analysis, the team came up with the following conclusion. Keep those workloads running on the mainframe infrastructure, meaning a high cost, a big MIPS consumption. Latency, as the mainframe is running other critical workload, resulting in high waiting time to get this workload running. Stability issues, resulting in missing service level agreement and impact other areas. And the last pain is knowledge. Find people, skill, and know-how about mainframe now is hard to find. The outcome of this analysis was clear. Find a new solution to evolve and modernize to a new workload that are coming, as the current core banking is not delivering what the board was expecting. It's called offloading. Okay.
So let me introduce this the 2B strategy. I like that mainframe crying. I leave the room. I'd say, no, I need to retire, right? But that's not the case. Actually, the mainframe will be there for the online transactions, like payments and things like that. They should be there, right? So they have resilience, they have high availability, they're really robust system. But the thing is that you need to compete with resources, with other workloads. Okay. So the 2B strategy was, let's say, defined in 2 main phases or stages. Okay, the first one that actually is the one the bank is running right now is to modernize batch workloads. Okay, with that they are looking for stability, okay, and sustainability. Okay, and at the same time, this is like the short-term vision. Okay, make sure that it's stable, sustainable, and also introduce to the StreamHouse architecture. Okay, that's really important. That's the vision in terms of architecture they are looking for. Okay, I believe you guys will see more of this StreamHouse approach we are during the Flink forward. Okay, and the second one is based on the once it's stable and sustainable, they want to start to migrate or move from the batch mode, let's say, to the stream, to real-time data, okay? In that case, what they're looking for is to improve the customer experience. So more digital channels require, we're going to collect more data so they can, let's say, improve the customer experience in real time using, all those data sources, okay? So this is really important to understand. Every time I talk to a bank, they say, "Hey, I don't want any big bank project, right? That's too risky. No one's gonna take it. It's impossible, right?" So they prefer to phase that any strategy, so like cloud movement, for example, okay, so they can adopt, learn, and improve, and then move forward on different steps. Okay, so this is just to give you the let's say a high-level view how they they are thinking about to move from the batch approach to a more real time. Okay, now Jorge can explain more on these different, let's say, details here.
Okay, the goal of the first phase was mainly focused on offloading or moving out those workloads from the mainframe and do the same, but outside the current infrastructure. This phase required to export the BSAM file to a shared storage that call it storage account on Azure. Okay, in the bash, choose Apache Flink as a new engine for data processing. Flink is the core engine for those bash workloads migrate from the mainframe, but for brand new projects as well. Flink allows the bank to process. We can see 3 steps. The first step, raw data exported from the mainframe and avoid the main problem is data skew. The big file is splitting into small files to buckets using Paimon. The second step is about harmonize and prepare the data with better processing time, leverage parallelism to the bucket structure. In the final step, build a specific business data set for reporting and custom needs. This pylon already brought big efficiency compared to the same workload running in the mainframe. Here we can find more information on how the different pieces of the offloading architecture play together. On the top, we can find the process running in the mainframe, the export customer, account, and business data. The data lands in the cloud storage layer to serve processing purpose. At the bottom, we can see the different tools for automation, so there is no human in the loop and avoid setup mistake. The bank leverage Ververica API to easily deploy and automate a new jobs or workload onboarding. All the different steps or parts of a job are orchestrated with temporal. The flow is first, in the first, the scheduler call an agent from the mainframe to the offloading platform. Second, the agent trigger temporal workflow. Third, the temporal server orchestrate tasks with a worker. And finally, the worker then start the jobs using an Ververica API. Let's understand why we choose Flink for this initiative. The main data source the bank are currently using with this offload is BSAN data exported from the mainframe. These files are encoded in EBCD format, so it's not plain text. With Flink, it's possible to read and decode or deserialize those files. It's very flexible. Only you can implement 2 interfaces. With Flink so they are treated as plain text during the data processing workload. This flexibility is not easy to find in other tools or frameworks. We can easily work with different data and encoding format, future-proofing our architecture. The bank not only wanted to offload those mainframe processes, but also look forward to modern data architecture approach. Lakehouse is an evolution from data lakes and provides better and enhanced data management techniques for structured data in a generic file system. Apache Paimon is an optimized data management for streaming purpose, fitting well in the bank's vision to be a real-time first financial institution. BCP is currently the only one company worldwide running Apache Paimon and storage account. This implementation was possible due to the work done by the architecture team to integrate specific libraries to leverage storage account. the bank is really proud of this work and the contribution of this open source community.
Yeah, that's really important. The bank is actually the only company currently run Apache Paimon on Azure storage account. Okay, there are other running on S3 mainly, but and Jorge and his team, they did this work to integrate libraries and run these. So they're really proud about that, right? Sorry. So why Flink automation? So they don't want human in the loop, right? Basically avoid any issues when deployed. So they integrated Ververica platform with GitHub Actions, so they can those CI/CD piece they can easily automate the deployment, right, of the jobs. Let's say the libraries and the jars and everything. And the other hand, they are using Temporal to orchestrate everything. So from the deployment to the orchestrations and run the job, everything is automated in that way, right? And the last one that actually was, I totally believe it was one of the main reasons as well the bank, chose Flink is because, as we know, with Flink you can use for both bounded and unbounded data, right? So you can use with batch data, basically. That is the first job. You remember the strategy, right? Is move those batch processes running the workload to a new technology and get more benefits, right, on that. But they have that vision to be a real-time bank, right? And that's why, at some point when they want to integrate real-time data sources, they are already using a framework that can scale at that level they are looking for, okay? So definitely they are using storage account Paimon today, but they have plans to use real-time data like in Flink and other structured databases that they have implemented in the bank, okay, today. So, as natural, Flink will be one piece of that, complex architecture, right? Because the bank systems, they are complex, but it can easily connect to those data sources and the scale pretty easy, right? To finalize, I believe any presentation we need to talk about impact, right? So the team has realized that first they could decrease for this specific workload or part of those jobs the MIPS, you know what MIPS means, right? So everything you run in a mainframe, there's a counter there. And someone go to your office and last day of the month say, hey, that's your check, okay? Please pay, okay? So most of the companies, they are in that strategy to decrease as much as possible the MIPS, which means cost reduction, okay? Second, it's time to market, right? So now they could decrease largest job from hours to minutes to seconds, actually, okay? Because they using the Paimon strategy, they can, that avoid the data skew and take advantage of the parallelism once they split the data and have, run the job faster, okay? Which means they can do more with the same data, but faster, right? And last one is, everything about innovation is about speed and agility, right? So they were looking for how they can onboard new use cases, now batch, but in the future, real-time use case much faster, okay? So related to the next steps, actually, they're running what we call the self-hosted version of Ververica platform, and they want to move for a more SaaS infrastructure, okay? So the idea is that they can, just focus on build new use cases, right, and avoid manage that burden of managed infrastructure. So we are in that discussion to make sure that they can easily, let's say, adopt a new approach for data management, okay? Thanks for your time. We still have 5 minutes. If you have any questions, it can be here, it can be outside. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, I have a similar scenario, even though a lot smaller, for handling batch jobs. Like, more like orchestrating batch jobs, like starting, checking if it's done, if it is not, retry, things like that. I saw that you're using temporal. I don't know if that's for like job orchestration. So I wonder if you could elaborate a little bit more on how you use it. It's more like a by hand script, so you have like built-in solutions for those kind of batch job orchestration.
Lo puedo tocar sobre el tema de la integración con temporal y todo eso.
Es un
puedo
SaaS.
responder, sí.
Dale.
So actually, last week I was in Lima, eat ceviche and Peruvian food. That's really amazing with the team, and they were actually work on that. So basically, from the Flink job, you can get the metrics. Flink is constantly reporting the status of the metrics because I have the task manager, the job manager. So it's receiving those, let's say, signals, right? And they could build like a custom Java function, okay, or interface that actually can report to the temporal server and report the job ID and the status. And when they get a specific status like successful or finish, whatever, that represents that the actual job finish, they can trigger the next job. Okay, so they can orchestrate everything on that thing. So the team actually was testing that, and what I understand that they could get good result because it's a custom implementation basically. Okay, at some point in time maybe there will be like a new plugin for Flink, right? Integrate with Temporal. Okay, which orchestration tool are you using?
None yet. So
Okay.
For us, it's a challenge that you're trying to tackle right now. So you're leveraging some alternatives. So
Correct.
it's a pain point.
Okay, cool. Hopefully I could address your question.
Thank you.
More questions?
Yeah, so,
Hey, thank you for the talk. Do you run mostly bad jobs? Do you run also real-time jobs? And even if there are bad jobs, I understand that they were running in several seconds. Is that correct?
Yes. So remember, Flink is like a distributed system. So the way you organize the data, in this case, Paimon, you can leverage the power of Paimon on the lakehouse, right? You can run multiple task managers or workers at the same time, right? So you can, definitely decrease significantly that time to process. Right now, as we explained, they are in the first phase. Start to migrate those heavy batch processes, release those resources because it's consuming MIPS and resources for the mainframe that they can do other things, right? The things they were built to, actually. But the second phase will be how they can start to get the data in real time. There are different techniques like CDC, for example, replicate the database. So we're going to get at that stage when they need to define how to, also, that's not actually a Flink problem. It's a data source problem, how those data sources can start to move the data out in real time.
Don't get me wrong. It's actually very, very great to see actually Flink helping you to migrate those bad jobs, right? And executing them so well.
Yeah, it's not natural. I agree. Flink, like when you think Flink, think like real time. But remember, the workload, they can work like in a hybrid mode. Like say you can just run unbounded data. It doesn't matter.
And this is a great example of it, like running that in batch, like incrementally for several seconds per job, right?
Yeah.
That's really great. And if there is no other question, what kind of things that you could offload, which are going to be actually real time from the mainframe? Are you able to name some use cases?
Okay. ¿Qué posibles casos de uso en temporal se pueden empezar a implementar desde el mainframe?
Ya existen chain data capture de archivos VISA.
Okay. They already have like CDC for the VISA files.
Hacia los tópicos.
CDC, change data capture from the VISA files.
Hacia los tópicos.
And ¿dónde está llegando en Kafka?
Confluent.
Confluent
platform.
Okay, so and that data is landing on the Kafka Confluent flavor. So at some point in time, the idea is to plug and start to get that data.
De hecho, es una integración que estamos trabajando.
Okay. That's the following integration they they're planning to work with.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks so much. On time. Last second. Okay. Thanks so much. I believe we have the cocktail right now. Yeah? So, cool. Have more questions, just reach out to us. Enjoy Barcelona.